forest again, continuing my Master Ninja 4. Again, what am I saying? My Ninja Gaiden 4 Master Ninja difficulty walkthrough with Yakumo. This is Chapter 4, Pilgrim's Windswept Path. And we're going to get quite a few enemies introduced to us in this one. I mean, a couple of them were already in the previous mission, but because I was busy going on and on about nonsense, I didn't get a chance to talk about them. But if you see these demons with the big swords and the gollywog hair, and you get these orc-looking things that carry these giant cleavers, these guys take serious amounts of punishment. You know, I think it's kind of bullshit that on the one hand this game is a lot more flexible with its movements and stuff than other Ninja Gaiden games are, but at the same time the enemies just take more damage. I don't know what it is, because for the most part the enemies in this game take very fair amounts of damage. So this encounter here isn't too bad. There's some trees you can bounce off of with R1, and you'll definitely face quite a bit of resistance from the DDO soldiers, but this honestly isn't that bad. And if you have to, just get to the high ground by running up that little, what do you call that, little cliff there? And watch them jump up to you and just catch them in an ultimate or something. I don't do that, but you can do. If you've done everything you have before, there should be no problem for you. And it's funny too, because I think, as well as what I've said before, that this is all new to me and commentary and all that, I'm used to talking to myself. Like, I can talk to myself for up to an hour or two, even longer than that. You know, I've quite literally paced back and forth in my room for a very, very long time, talking to myself and just planning out the day or the future. But what I've noticed is I'm starting to talk about random nonsense a lot more often, but not letting it get in the way of telling you guys what's most important here. And so because I sound a lot more confident, I'm starting to find my stride, and I'm getting more and more confidence even as I'm speaking right now. But that being said, I think Ninja Gaiden 4, as this walkthrough is right now on Master Ninja, is more or less a sort of progressive series for me, you know, doing something different. Now, on a lighter note, depending on how you look at it, while I was going back over the recording for the last part, in part 3, I realised as I checked the audio files that before I started speaking and doing commentary on the video, I just ripped a massive fart. And because the audio doesn't come through perfectly, not how it is in real life, it sounded a little sloppy, and it was pretty damn funny that I almost cracked up and woke everybody out of my house. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? It's 4:15, stop it! Okay, this part here is a stealth sequence, and I believe, from what I remember, I did it very successfully as Yakumo. There's a chest here you can get, but then you get assaulted, yep, by one of these big dudes, but because he's on his own, he's not much of a threat. Yep, already dead. Now, yeah, so apologies to all the fart and scat fetishists out there, but just know that if I could kill you, I would, because you're a special kind and a different breed of disgusting. Anyway, back to this. Just take your time, take them out one by one, because if you don't, you'll have more of them dropping down, including, I think, one of the bigger boys. Oh no, even worse. Oh yeah, they do, but even worse, a shuriken guy. Though I'm pretty sure I just give up and run away. Yeah, forget you gotta go that way. These few missions are a little bit confusing with some of their layouts, because there's so many places you can go. Oh, excuse me if you hear that. I actually like the level design of this, no, I don't like the level design, fuck that. I like the aesthetics of the levels. Like, especially back in Tokyo, the idea of like a cyberpunk city with the rain and all that. Some of the colours really stood out, especially like all those containers and stuff. And it sounds strange, but I love the general look of these environments, but I don't like the way they're designed or how they're used. If that makes any sense. So yeah, these are the Tengu enemies, the ones that fly around. If you're near a ledge, you can just jump up and guillotine throw them, and if you throw them towards a ledge, they will just fall straight down and never recover. It's the weirdest thing. But otherwise, these things for the most part are more of an annoyance than a threat. See those things there, just dodge forward and they'll miss you and hit the ground. But if you dodge around and sideways, it'll keep following you for a long time. So you throw them into each other. If you encounter the red Tengu, the ones that have like red robes and stuff, those ones are extremely dangerous. If you give them too much leeway, they will attack you and combo you and kill you completely. It's such nonsense, and you'll probably see them catch me out once or twice in this entire walkthrough. Just know that they did it a lot more. But as far as how much I enjoy these levels, I think they go on too long. I'm not a huge fan of these levels anymore. And as far as any part of these levels that I am a fan of, I think maybe Mission 7 is probably my favourite out of all of them, where it's just a boss fight, which to me, I don't know why more action games don't do this. It's like you don't have to have 20 missions, you can have more than that, you can have 25, you can have 30. Just, if you're going to have a fairly lengthy mission, then don't put a boss at the end of it. Put a boss at the start of the next mission, and just have that be the entire mission. So you see here, I'm just running through these enemies. That is, and I nearly get fucked, that is going to be the story going forward. There's a lot of encounters that you can just skip by running away from them, and if not for that, these levels will be a lot longer than they are. Now, unlike my first walkthrough I did for Master Ninja, that I was going to originally use, but then I realised it was so shit because I was skipping everything, including where darkness terminals were surrounded by enemies, and even though they were easy to deal with, I just didn't fight them, and so I went into other encounters with less items that I would have liked, and I got stuck, especially since it was my first proper experience with Master Ninja. Anyway, what was I saying before? Fuck, forgot. Anyway, you know, so feel free to stop and attack these enemies if you want. These things here I do not like at all. They're basically the dog enemies you encounter in Mission 8 onwards, fiend dogs. But these ones take a lot less damage, which is good, because these things are very weak. But the problem is they dash all over the place and they're hard to track down sometimes. They're so annoying too. And I just don't like the designs. They just look like a bunch of old handkerchiefs flying around. Or like some stupid little kids just put on like a blanket and run around like a ghost costume. In fact, now that I bring it up, I think most of the enemy design in terms of how they look, not down to how they fight, but how they look, a lot of it just seems either really dull or just look flat out stupid. Like these things here, these like metal dudes with the spikes and all that, I think they're pretty interesting, and I do kind of look like the general look. I just wish there was a bit more to them so they looked a little bit scarier. But yeah, there's several enemies I hate the designs of. Those gollywog fucking demons I talked about with the big swords, the orcs that you'll eventually encounter. Well, they're not orcs, but they look like it, and they might as well be. And the stupid little handkerchief dog things. Yeah, just like I said before at the beginning of the walkthrough, there's so much about this game I do not like, but because it's hack and slash, because it genuinely is fun and fast to move around in, because it's fun to play, I can tolerate a lot of the bullshit. And I can play it and I can enjoy it and feel accomplished. Whereas you take a relatively well-polished game that has mediocre gameplay and just drags on for the sake of dragging on, I will hate that game more than a game like this. I think we've really lost our way in terms of what hack and slash really was about. Oh yeah, what I was saying before about bosses being at the ends of missions and all that. If you're going to have a boss at the end of a mission, have it be a relatively short or average in length mission, but don't make the boss extremely tough, or at least don't make him do tons of damage. You know, find a balance, find a compromise. Now it's going to sound strange to say, especially with such a comparison, but there's a game I played back in 2022 that I actually rather enjoyed, and I tried to revisit it again about a year or two later, and it just didn't work out for me. It was called Samurai Maiden, and it's one of these like trash weeby games, you know, trash weeaboo games. But this one was actually pretty competently designed as far as a hack and slash goes. But the problems I had with it is that some of the S ranks were really hard to get, especially on demonic difficulty. And while I did eventually get all of that within about 40 to 50 hours because some of it was really annoying. It did something for S ranks in a game that I've never seen before, and on the one hand I found it really good because it was just helpful to get it out of the way and over and done with, but at the same time it felt kind of cheap because it judged you for how long it took you to complete a mission. It judged you for how much currency you picked up, whether it was just stuff lying around or how much you killed or how many enemies you killed. And again, enemy kills as well was another factor they brought in. I'm pretty sure that was it. Just how long you took to beat the level, how many enemies you killed, and how much currency you collected, which kind of went hand in hand, so it was a little bit pointless. And you had to get an S rank on all three categories in order to get an S rank for the mission itself. And that would normally be difficult because some of those levels go on for a long time, especially if you have to fight every enemy. But how they did it was, let's say if you beat the mission the first time very, very fast and you got the S rank there, but you did poorly for the amount of enemies killed, or you did poorly for damage, or for the amount of money you collected and this and that, as long as you did it well the first time, when you went back into that mission, it would still give you the top marks for time because you've already proven that you can do it. So all you would have to do is take your time killing every enemy and collecting money and not taking damage. Time doesn't matter anymore because you've already proven that you can beat it fast. So it's like Devil May Cry 3, if you beat the mission super fast and get an S rank, and the next time you try to beat that mission again, you don't have to worry about time. You can take your time. And that's a pretty interesting way of looking at it. I think it's kind of cheap and, well, a bit easier, but yeah. And I completely skipped out on an enemy or two there I was supposed to talk about because I got wrapped up in all my rambling, but believe you me, I'll bring it up next time because we haven't seen the last of these enemies and they're absolute cunts. So I'll see you next time. Thanks for listening.